Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This video is lesson 28, I think. I'm not sure, I lost count. My 1300th video was my last video that I did on how to drive a stick shift, if I'm not mistaken. As you can see, the vehicle is currently sitting at an angle like this, and the parking brake is up, the vehicle is in first gear. If the vehicle was sitting down like this, the parking brake would still be up, but this would be in reverse, which is like that. Or if it was on completely flat surface, the parking brake would be up, but the vehicle would still be in first gear. I don't use the transmission as a kickstand. Some people do. I don't, but I mean, if I were, then here, let me just parking brake down. Vehicle's not moving because it's in gear. That's using the transmission as a kickstand. I do not do that, and I don't recommend doing it. But when you learn how to drive a stick shift, you can do it however you want. When you go to start a manual vehicle, regardless of whether it's in gear or in neutral, then you have to push the clutch pedal in order to start it. If it's, but first you need to get used to using this, moving this around all the different gears, moving it into reverse. Get used to moving this around. Get used to, shifting. Get used to putting it into neutral and being able to do that. If it's in gear or if it's in neutral, you have to push clutch pedal in, because if you don't, I'll put it in gear first. It doesn't start. If I put it in neutral, still doesn't start. Clutch pedal in. There. You have to push the clutch pedal in to start any manual vehicle. There's standard stick shift, which is what this is. There's paddle shifters, which I've seen them on a vehicle I looked at a while back. There were paddle shifters. It was on one side, it was automatic, and you could shift it over to manual, but the shifters were up here on the steering column. But regardless, any manual vehicle, whether it be 3 on the tree, 3 on the floor, 4-speed, 5-speed, 6-speed, whatever, 7-speed, any manual vehicle, you have to push clutch pedal to start it. Now, in order to get going, obviously I'm going to have to put the parking brake down. Reverse, because I got to back out of a parking spot. Take off. I shifted it into first gear. Give it a tiny little bit of gas while slowly releasing the clutch pedal, and off we go. Clutch pedal in second gear. Clutch pedal in third gear. Anytime I want to shift, I have to put the clutch pedal in. Now, I have seen videos myself I have not done this myself, and I won't try it myself, but I have seen videos where people don't use the clutch pedal to shift. They say if you do it just right and you time it just right, you don't have to use the clutch pedal. And they show you how, hey, be at this speed, do it just like this. Okay, that's great for them. I do not recommend that. I will not try that even for a video. Because if you do it wrong, you're going to seriously mess up your vehicle. And if you mess up the transmission on a manual vehicle, you're going to be in some hot water. First gear. This is another thing I wanted to cover while I have a chance. Traffic is not very heavy because I'm in a not very traffic heavy area right now. So this is what I wanted to say as well. I have done this for YouTube videos, and I have told stories of people doing this. Some people feel like you have to shift so quickly into second gear after you take off that it's not worth putting the vehicle in first gear to take off. You might as well just take off from second gear. I have done that myself, but I do not recommend that. I can do that myself, and yes, it is possible, but I do not do it on a regular basis. I have only done it for YouTube content and to try it out. I don't do it. I don't recommend it. You have however many gears are in your vehicle. This is a 5-speed. You have all these gears for a reason. Use them. Second gear. Third gear. Vehicle's in neutral. I push the clutch pedal in, put the vehicle in neutral, so I can do that. Now I can hit the brake to slow down and or stop. And this is another thing I'm going to cover right now. There's several different ways of slowing down and or stopping in a manual transmission vehicle. The first and most common is to do what I just did, which is put the vehicle in neutral. Then push the clutch pedal in, whatever gear the vehicle's in, you put it in neutral regardless, and push the brake pedal in until you either slow down to your desired speed or stop. The second, and slightly more advanced in my opinion, is to push the clutch pedal in when the vehicle's still in gear, then push the brake pedal in until you're either slowed down to your desired speed or stopped. Third way is kind of similar to that, where the vehicle is in gear and you simultaneously push the clutch pedal in and the brake pedal in. You're still going to get until you reach your desired speed and or stop. That's similar to the second way. And the fourth and most advanced in my opinion, but the one I like doing most, is to downshift. I'll cover that here in a moment when I get to this next intersection, but it's a small distance away. I'll probably do that a few more times here soon, but right now I can only get up to about 30 mile an hour, 35 mile an hour. Speed through here is about 30 to 35. I think I don't travel this particular area, this particular road very often. Downshifted into third gear because I'm doing 35. Vehicle slowing down to 30 mile an hour by itself. Got to 30 mile an hour, downshifting into second. The vehicle, once again, I'm pushing the clutch pedal in, downshifting into a lower gear, letting go of the clutch pedal slowly, not just jerking it up, not just letting it just bounce up, not letting it spring up or anything, just slowly releasing the clutch pedal after downshifting, and the vehicle slows down by itself. That's downshifting. You downshift into a lower gear to help to get the vehicle to slow down. I typically like doing that regularly because it's just how I enjoy slowing down and or stopping. In the city, within city limits, when the speed limit's only like 35 or less, I don't downshift. There's no purpose in it. I don't feel the point in it, so I will not downshift. But if I'm doing upwards of 50 mile an hour, 55 mile an hour, I will, to slow down, I'll downshift. Just because I like doing something more doesn't mean I do it more. It just means I like doing it more. But in terms of downshifting, before I cover what I was going to say about that, I'm going to say that in this particular vehicle, this is a 4-cylinder, 5-speed, 2.3 liter engine, which means regularly I can do first gear is typically from 0 to 10 miles an hour. Second gear is from 10 to 20. Third gear is from 20 to 30. Fourth gear is from 30 to 40. And anything above 40 mile an hour is fifth gear for this. You also have to keep an eye on your RPMs. I had a vehicle that was a 4-cylinder 5-speed that was only a 1.9 liter engine, and that particular vehicle I could do, it was very similar, but by the time I got up to 40 miles an hour, I was already in fifth gear because it was a smaller engine. A while back, I test drove a V8 5-speed. That thing, it was a lot different because it was twice the size, and I believe it was a V8 Hemi, so it was even bigger. Its gear ratios and gear speeds were higher, so I was able to do I think the highest speed I got up to that was like 40 miles an hour, and that was in like third or maybe fourth gear. I didn't feel, to be honest though, I was test driving with a buddy of mine and I did not feel comfortable in it, so I let him take over after like 2 or 3 miles. But there's also, this is a 5-speed. There's other vehicles that are, there's old vehicles that are 3-speed. There's vehicles that are 4-speed. There's 5-speed, which is what this is. There's 6-speed and there's 7-speed. Everybody's gear ratio is going to be different. It depends on the how many gears you have, and it also depends on the size of the engine. That's what I was going to say about the RPMs. You have to keep an eye on your RPMs. Most people believe you should shift between 2,500 and 3,000. I have been told to shift between 2,000 and 2,500, or right at 2,000. Me personally, I go between 2,000 and 3,000 RPMs. If I'm skipping gears, which is possible in a manual transmission vehicle if you do it right, your RPMs are going to be a little bit higher when you go to shift. It's like right now, I'm in second gear. The RPMs, when I went to shift, at 20 miles an hour in second gear, I was doing 2,500 RPMs. Now I'm doing 30 mile an hour in third gear, and the RPMs are just a little above. They're sitting at like 2,250 or slightly below. Keep an eye on your RPMs. Wherever you want to shift, wherever you feel comfortable shifting, I usually do between 2,000 and 3,000. No lower than 2,000, no higher than 3,000. However, I have been on the interstate in fifth gear doing 70 mile an hour, and the RPMs are higher than 3,500, or maybe they're right at 3,500. I can't recall because I haven't been on the interstate in a while, but I can't shift any higher than fifth gear in this, so it is what it is. But that's where some people, a buddy of mine has a vehicle that's a 6-speed. He uses 6th gear for the interstate. That's it. And the other thing I was going to say about downshifting is I have done it for videos to show how what's the word I was looking for? I've done it for videos to where I've downshifted into first gear to show how unnecessary it is. You can downshift it when you learn how to drive a stick shift. You can downshift into first gear if you want to. I feel it's not necessary, so I never downshift into first gear. Not while I'm driving, anyway. I've done it for videos. That's it. Second, I'm going to speed up to 30 mile an hour in second gear, shift directly into fourth. Then fifth. That's how you skip gears. You could hear the engine get slightly louder, and that's because the RPMs were going up because I was skipping gears. It is, like I said, it is possible. I don't do it on a regular basis, but I have done it some throughout the years. I've been able to drive a stick shift for almost 8 years. So I've known how to skip gears since I learned how to drive a stick shift. First time I tried it, did decent with it. I didn't break anything. I've gotten better with it. You can skip gears in a manual transmission. Should you do it regularly? I don't recommend it. But when you learn how to drive a stick shift, whatever you want to do in your stick shift vehicle, you can do that. Okay, great. That's good for you. Me personally, I typically do it. Depends on the situation. If I know, like back there, I knew I was getting ready to hit it. I was driving from a speed limit that was like 30 miles an hour to a speed limit that was 50 or 55. So I decided to skip gears. Right now I'm doing 55 mile an hour in fifth gear. The RPMs are sitting at just above 2,500. In terms of downshifting as well, you got to keep an eye. Like me personally, in this vehicle, if I'm in fifth gear doing 55 mile an hour, I take that back. Let me say I'm in fifth gear doing 60 miles an hour. I will slow down an additional 5 miles an hour. I will slow down to 55 mile an hour before I downshift into fourth gear. I don't like to be any higher than 55 mile an hour to downshift into fourth gear. I don't like to be any higher than 45 mile an hour to downshift into third gear. 35 to downshift into second gear. And like I said, I don't downshift into first gear, but I have done it for videos. And the fastest I was going to downshift into first gear was like 20. won't need to shift for a good little bit because there's a stretch of road that I'm on is a good distance between. It's a good distance until I get to the destination I'm going to for this video. The two ways, if I do skip gears, this is what I was going to say next. If I do skip gears, which I said I do occasionally, not often, but occasionally, two ways I skip gears, I go from first to second, to fourth to fifth, which is what I did a few minutes ago, and the second way is I go from first to second to third to fifth. For videos, though, I have gone from first to third to fifth, and I've also taken off from second gear and shifted directly into fourth gear. Those are two things I don't do. I've only done them for videos, but I don't do them regularly. The only two ways I skip gears are, like I said, first, second, third, fifth, and first, second, fourth, fifth. What I was going to say, it depends on the situation if I decide I want to downshift or skip gears for that matter. Situation like if let's say there's a bunch of traffic behind me, or there's at least one vehicle that's, rather close to me, and I'm doing 50 mile an hour, I won't downshift. I may downshift, but I don't downshift because I feel it's being discourteous. If you downshift in a manual transmission vehicle, people don't see your brake lights. They don't know. I don't know if the person's going to realize I'm slowing down or not. So I don't want to risk getting rear-ended by downshifting. That's my personal opinion. Skipping gears, like I said, back there, I knew I was getting ready to hit us. Not only was I doing it for the video, but I was going from a speed limit that was 30 miles an hour up to 55. So I decided to just skip a gear, not only to show you how to do it, but also because that's one of the situations where I feel it's okay to skip a gear. And every time I shift, every time I downshift, every time I put the vehicle in neutral, every time I take off, no matter what, I push the clutch pedal in, because you have a clutch pedal for a reason. That's why I don't skip gears as often as as some people, is because you have all those gears for a reason. Use them. However, if you learn how to drive a stick shift, either through my channel or someone else, you can do it however you want. I'm just telling you how I recommend it, how I do it. To be honest, it's a bit foggier than I would have liked this evening. Turns coming up, so I'll downshift into fourth gear because I'm doing 55 mile an hour. I'm not going to downshift into third gear because there is a truck not right behind me, but it is behind me and close enough to where I don't feel comfortable downshifting anymore. This is something I learned from the person that helped me learn how to drive a stick. I learned from YouTube, and I also learned from a friend of mine who was selling me a vehicle that was a stick shift. And if you're in a turn, is actually interesting. The turning gear, as I refer to it as second gear. I was in second gear when I made that turn, and I usually am able to shift into second gear when I'm taking off. If I'm turning, I'm able to shift into second gear before I'm out of the turn. It depends. I mean, it depends on how wide the turn is, but typically second gear is a turning gear. It may seem like, well, that's 10 to 20 mile an hour. Yeah, which may seem fast for a turn, but when you get used to driving a stick shift, you realize it's actually not that bad, and it's actually rather comfortable. I was going to say a few moments ago, or a little bit ago, that when I was taking off, I said you push the clutch pedal in, put the vehicle in first gear, give a little bit of gas, and slowly release the clutch pedal. Some people don't do that. Some people feel like you don't need to use the gas pedal to take off. Hold on, give me a second. Some people don't feel like you need to use the gas pedal to take off. You just need to slowly release the clutch pedal. I don't do it that way. I give it a tiny little bit of gas and slowly release the clutch pedal. Well, when I'm in reverse, I do the same thing. I give it a tiny little bit of gas and slowly release the clutch pedal. Depending on the situation, most of the time I give it, no matter if I'm taking off or if I'm if I'm going in reverse, I give it a tiny little bit of gas and then slowly release the clutch pedal. Third gear, I'm going to speed up to 40 miles an hour and shift directly into fifth. That's the second way I like skipping gears. 45 miles an hour, so I'm going to downshift into fourth. 40 miles an hour, downshift directly into third. Slowing down, vehicle slowing down myself. Typically I like to downshift, especially in the winter when it's winter and or really cold fall. Basically, anytime there's a lot of rain or a lot of snow or the road's really slick is when I like to downshift. Just for this video, I have done this before, like I said, for YouTube videos. I'm going to show you. I'm going to take off from second gear. Shift directly into fourth. Shift into fifth. I don't know if you heard that, but I mean, I had to give it quite a bit of gas, and it was still not really enough, but it's still, I was able to take off. That's how unnecessary it is to take off from second gear. It's not really, people think it's unnecessary to use first gear. No, it's not. If it was unnecessary to use the first gear, they wouldn't put first gear in the car or in the vehicle, whatever you may be driving. They wouldn't put that first gear in there if it wasn't necessary to use. I know that's going to sound weird because I've shown you how you can skip gears, but I don't do that on a regular basis. I mean, I do it occasionally, but not often. I'm doing 55 mile an hour and a downshift into fourth gear. 45 mile an hour. Third gear. $33 miles an hour. Second gear, because I'm getting ready to make a turn. Now I'm doing 20 miles an hour. I'm going to downshift into first gear to show you how unnecessary that is. I could be walking this speed, to be honest with you. think that should just about do it. I'm almost to another location. I was going to do a few more things, like go from first to third to fifth in this video, but I decided against it. That'll do it for this lesson. Like I said, I believe this was lesson 28. I could be wrong. Thanks, everyone. And if I don't say this, if I don't post another longer video, then I'm going to say it now. Merry Christmas, everyone. Stay safe. Enjoy the holiday. And I will talk to everyone very, very soon. Please subscribe.